December 21st, 2025. In the dead of night, something unusual happens in South Africa's correctional system. One of the country's most dangerous and politically connected inmates quietly disappears from Pretoria. No press briefing, no public announcement, just silence. Vusimuzi Matlala, the businessman accused of bribing ministers with Woolworths shopping bags stuffed with cash, is secretly removed and transported hundreds of kilometers away. His destination? Ebongueni Prison in Corkstad, the most isolated and heavily controlled correctional facility in South Africa. Ebongueni isn't an ordinary prison. This is where authorities send inmates they consider extreme risks. Prisoners who plan escapes. Prisoners who continue running criminal networks from behind bars. Prisoners who are simply too dangerous to keep anywhere else. So the question is obvious. What did Matlala do to justify being moved in the middle of the night to a prison 300 kilometers from civilization? To understand that, we have to go back to July 2025. It was a Sunday morning when the National Commissioner of Correctional Services himself, Mgothi Samuel Thobadal, led an unannounced raid at Vusimuzi prison. During the search, officers made a shocking discovery. Matlala, held in CMAX, the most secure unit of one of the toughest prisons in the country, was found with a working mobile phone. Pause and think about that. A man classified as high risk, locked inside maximum security, somehow had access to a phone. And according to investigators, he wasn't just receiving calls, he was making them. Who was he calling? Authorities won't say. What was being discussed? That information hasn't been made public. But prosecutors later confirmed something deeply troubling. The phone contained contact details for a police officer. Matlala claimed he obtained the phone from another inmate who has since been released on bail, but investigators couldn't verify that story. No evidence, no trail, no one else to blame. The official investigation pointed straight back to Matlala. That leaves only two possibilities. Either he lied about how he got the phone, or someone helped him and then vanished without leaving a trace. Either way, the message was clear. Even in maximum security, Matlala was still connected to the outside world. After the phone was discovered, authorities tightened the screws. He was moved to an even more restrictive section within the prison, but apparently that still wasn't enough, because 5 months later, under the cover of darkness, they transferred him again, this time to Ebongueni, which raises an even bigger question. What else did they find? What else was he doing? Because nobody gets moved overnight to the most isolated prison in South Africa over just one contraband phone. When news of the transfer broke, South Africans immediately took to social media, and the reaction was almost unanimous. One comment went viral, reading, "I smell an escape coming." And honestly, can you blame them? Look at the pattern. Ebongueni is where inmates with escape histories or escape plans end up. Take Ananias the Vaseline Man, the infamous escape artist. After breaking out of Vusimuzi, he was sent to Ebongueni, and even there he attempted to escape twice. Twice. Then there's Radovan Krejcir, the Czech mafia boss. He was also held at Vusimuzi, just like Matlala. Prison officials uncovered 2 separate escape plots involving Krejcir before transferring him to Ebongueni as well. And now, Matlala follows the exact same route, Vusimuzi to Ebongueni, the same path taken by inmates known for plotting escapes. Back in November, when Parliament wanted Matlala to testify about corruption, officials were so concerned about the possibility of him escaping that they held the entire hearing inside the prison. The committee chairperson, Soviet Leganye, openly stated preventing any potential escape was one of their top priorities. The Department of Correctional Services went even further. Their spokesperson said Matlala's movements would be monitored at all times, that a special route would be used, one they couldn't disclose publicly, that security protocols applied to every second of his day, even while he was eating. If authorities were that afraid of him escaping during a hearing inside a maximum security facility, what does that tell you about what they believe he's capable of? But maybe escape isn't the real concern. Maybe the real fear is that Cat Matlala is still running criminal operations from behind bars. Consider what we already know. Matlala allegedly controlled a criminal empire worth hundreds of millions of rands. He allegedly housed ministers rent-free in his luxury apartments. He allegedly had enough influence to dismantle police task teams investigating political assassinations. According to Police Commissioner Dumisani Khumalo, Matlala is linked to the so-called Big Five cartel, a group accused of infiltrating political structures for personal gain. That kind of power doesn't disappear just because someone is incarcerated, not when they have deep connections, not when they allegedly have police officers saved in their contacts, not when they've been paying bribes for years. Officials reportedly view Matlala as someone capable of influencing others and coordinating operations from inside prison. The phone proved he could communicate. His history proved he had the network. The unanswered question is, what was he planning? There are also disturbing whispers about who might be assisting him. His private security company, Cat VIP Protection, held contracts across Gauteng. He allegedly maintained close relationships with senior police officers, some of whom are still in their positions today. Moving him to Ebongueni cuts off those connections. In Korkstad, 300 kilometers from Pretoria, he is locked in his cell for 23 hours a day. No interaction with other inmates, no movement, no access. Running networks under those conditions becomes nearly impossible. Unless, of course, someone on the inside at Ebongueni is also compromised, and that possibility should terrify everyone. There's another angle few people are discussing. What if the transfer wasn't about punishing Matlala, but protecting him? During the November parliamentary hearings, officials weren't only worried about escape. Reports suggest they feared interference from police officers Matlala had implicated. They were concerned about intimidation attempts, even assassination plots. The security risks were so severe that holding the hearings in a public venue was ruled out. Authorities believed it could expose everyone involved to coordinated attacks. Matlala has testified against powerful individuals. He has named names. He spoke about Woolworths shopping bags filled with cash allegedly delivered to Becky Kayla. He implicated Police Minister Senzome Chunu. He exposed details of the 360 million rand SAPS tender scandal. At the Matlala Commission, he became a central witness, revealing how corruption operates at the highest levels of power. So what if someone wants him silenced? What if there are people willing to pay enormous sums to make sure Cat Matlala never testifies again? At Ebongueni, with its extreme isolation and flawless security record, nobody gets near him unless authorities allow it. This isn't just a prison, it's a fortress. Since opening in 2002, not a single inmate has ever escaped, not once. The facility is monitored 24/7 with CCTV, motion sensors, and heavily armed guards. The guard-to-inmate ratio is 1-to-1. If your goal was to keep someone alive at all costs, Ebongueni would be the place. The Department of Correctional Services issued a brief statement saying the transfer followed standard procedures based on security assessments, operational requirements, and inmate classification. And that was it. When journalists pressed for answers, the spokesperson refused to elaborate, citing sensitive security concerns. But security for who? Security from what? Are they afraid he'll escape? Are they afraid he'll keep running criminal networks? Or are they afraid someone wants him dead? Or is it all three? The timing only deepens the mystery. Why move him on December 21st, days before Christmas, in the middle of the night? Why not wait until January? Why the urgency? Why the secrecy? His trial is scheduled for January 2026. He's expected back in court on January 29th. The Matlala Commission is still ongoing. More testimonies coming, more revelations, more names. And now, Kat Matlala sits in one of the harshest prison environments on Earth, cut off from nearly everyone and everything. So, what's really happening here? Is Kat Matlala too dangerous to keep in Pretoria because he's planning an escape? Because he's still directing criminal operations through corrupt officials? Or because the state is protecting him from powerful enemies who want him eliminated before he speaks again? Maybe it's all of the above. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay updated on this story, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because something tells me we haven't heard the last of Kat Matlala, not by a long shot.